Could I ask you please to answer this general political question? Aren't you open to the accusation of always running behind this outbreak, that if you'd had acted sooner, then Hong Kong would have been safer? And how worried are you now that the direction of this outbreak in this territory might end up with Hong Kong being in the same kind of isolation trouble that the mainland of China is? 2 American airlines have already cancelled flights. Taiwan, the Philippines are, closing their borders to you. So how worried are you that this might well end up with Hong Kong in isolation? Thank you.
Well, first of all, John, I've said in my introductory remarks, since we were first notified of this virus in the last month or so, we have been very vigilant in monitoring the situation, taking into account the advice of my in-house experts as well as external experts who were subsequently appointed to the Chief Executive's Expert Advisory Panel towards the latter part of January. So we have taken into account all these factors in making sure that the strategy remains one to prevent and to reduce the chances of this infection in Hong Kong, and also to adopt the measures which are most needed at every stage of the situation. Because the situation changed, as the Director of Health has just explained to you. So it is not entirely appropriate to say that one was behind or one was ahead of the various timelines in order to introduce the effective measures. The second thing is about whether I am worried or we are worried. I suppose everybody in Hong Kong should be worried about the situation in Hong Kong. So in my concluding remarks just now, I made a strong appeal that first, let's have confidence in Hong Kong. We have a very robust public health system. We have excellent medical and health personnel. I should add that we also have adequate public resources, and we have a population which has gone through several of these infectious diseases. So they should be more alert to the various precautionary measures that the Center for Health Promotion has asked them to comply with. So this is a time really for social cohesion, for getting our act together in order to fight this disease. One of my expert advisors was a former Assistant Director General of the World Health Organization, Professor Fukuda. In my meeting with him over this period, especially yesterday, he made this a very strong point that in every society, every community, in order to combat a public health crisis, it requires society to put aside the differences in order to act together. You can imagine if we roll out one measure after another, including controlling the border points, reducing traffic, or now going for mandatory quarantine, if members of the community refuse to comply or refuse to adopt the various precautionary measures and still want to go out and interact, that would create difficulties for our fight against this disease. I remain optimistic that with the favorable circumstances, the experience that we have gained in the past, that we should be able to fight this together. But here I make another very sincere appeal that this is really the time for us to put aside our differences, to act together in order to overcome this public health crisis.